Hello, and thank you so much for joining us on this brand new episode of the program. A SportsPizza, of course, you know, is the biggest, the boldest, and where you get the absolute best in the ever exciting world of sports. My name is Bronson, one of your hosts, and I must tell you that the program today is well loaded for your viewing pleasure. Now, for all the fans of football that were hoping that the Super Eagles of Nigeria will return back to the African Cup of Nations as soon as next year to fight for the title, well, I'm sorry to dash your hope. That won't be happening because it has been shifted by a year. So the African Cup of Nations would be in 2024, but we'll give you details of why that change was made later in the day. Now, no good news for the MFM boys because they have been moved to the lower division. That's because, they couldn't amass as much points as possible. Guess what? The Milo Basketball Championship secondary school competition was on fire last week. Something big happened, dramatic must be said, and SportsPizza was there live to cover the event. We'll bring you some real footage from that. Commonwealth game transfer stories all makes the program for this week. But first, let's take a very quick break. When we come back, we serve you all the details. Don't go away. Welcome back. Now, let's start the show with the African Cup of Nations. But of course, I can't begin the program without introducing my strike partner, Olakunle Philip. Kunle joins me at this time. Kunle, good to have you in the program.
Yeah, top of the day to you, Bronson. It's great to be here to talk sports. And like you said, the program is loaded and we are raring to go. That's what
it is. Now, let's begin the program with the African Cup of Nations. CAF said it has been postponed by a year. And as much as I was excited about the fact that the next one was going to be played in the summer, that's in June, July, but we hear that for some reasons it has been moved, and I'm not very comfortable with the new month, not even with the movement, but with the month that has been moved to.
I think, Bronson, I wasn't comfortable with that decision too, but then what can we do? Last weekend they came up, the executive members of CAF had a meeting and they came up with that decision. And one of the reasons they gave is that at that period, there's always the rain, the weather there is not always favorable. There's always heavy
downpour
and rain, and they feel that it's going to affect the tournament. And I thought to myself, why didn't they take all these things into consideration before coming up with the decision that the tournament will be hosted in Cote d'Ivoire between the month of June and July? And Bronson, remember, one of the reasons they gave was that the period in which the tournament is going to be hosted is because of that tussle of war between the club sides and the players. And some of us, we applauded that decision.
Now you're taking it to 24 at the same period.
Yeah, between January and February.
It doesn't make sense.
I just don't understand.
Why don't they backdate it to, now, instead of taking it to 2024, why don't you just leave it at the same year, but you bring it back to, what it's supposed to be? And secondly, if you talk about rainy season, it doesn't rain every day.
Probably they feel that the preparation for the teams, and you remember that there's going to be another phase of qualifiers in the month of September, and probably they thought it's going to be choky, and also considering the fact that there's going to be the World Cup. Some of the countries are going to be representing Africa at the forthcoming FIFA World Cup, but I still don't see anything bad in all of this, because in 1994, when Nigeria represented Africa in the African Cup of Nations, the World Cup, the USA 94 World Cup, Nigeria played in the African Cup of Nations, and then we went all the way to win it. And that was the best preparation that we had, because I think we played just few friendly games. Westhoff took us to Papendal in Portugal, in Holland, I beg your pardon, and we had the preparation. So I think some of these decisions by CAF are absolutely questionable. I don't understand the rationale behind some of their decisions, but then Mosepe is in the hand. Let's see how things will pan out at the end.
Well, the most important thing is for us to have a successful tournament. But if the coach, if the management of CAF is saying that postponing it would make any difference, which I'm trying to make sense out of it, Kule. Let's see how well that goes. But Kule, the African Women Cup of Nations has been very fantastic. Match day one, we saw a beautiful game of football being played, but one of the tournament favorites, Cameroun, I guess they live up to expectation.
Yeah, they did live up to expectation. Be proud to the tournament. Remember, when I look at the 2018 African Women Championship, where Nigeria took on South Africa and both ended the game via penalty shootout. Nigeria are winning. I looked at the opposition that the Super Falcons faced, and looking at the semi-final contest between Nigeria and the Indomitable Lioness of Cameroon, I felt the Cameroonians were the strongest team that the Falcons played against, and unfortunately they couldn't win it then. All this time that they've been playing, but looking at the players they have, they've got players, some classical players in the area. One of the top highly rated players in the present African Women Championship is Ajara. That fantastic woman, always, tireless player, worked almost all through 90 minutes playing for any team he plays for. So one would have felt that perhaps, and looking at the absence of some of the key players from the Zambians, we felt Banda, one top highly rated player who plays in the Chinese league, and the woman with the record of the highest number of goals, the only player who has scored a hat-trick back-to-back at the Olympics, will not be there due to medical reasons. One felt that the Cameroonians, with their experience, with the caliber of players they have in their rank, were going to turn the things around and take the Zambians to the cleaners.
But that didn't happen.
Ball game entirely.
Yeah,
as the team fought. They fought very hard, the Zambians fought, and they were very happy with the draw they got.
That's what football brings sometimes, when favorites attempt to stumble. But talking about Barbara, she played in the Olympics, and I remember seeing her fantastic player. She got some, dazzling skills.
Absolutely.
And plays very well. But, it feels like double standard, because if she can play in Women League in some other country, plays in the Olympics, I don't know the standard that CAF is using to disqualify her, saying that her testosterone is probably higher, and all of that. But
a woman should possess.
Well, that's CAF. CAF knows better. Now,
there's a certain player in the one striker who plays in the United States of America. Looks completely like a man, and some Zambians are complaining, lamenting bitterly that even when you look at Banda, and this Cameroonian striker, the Cameroonian striker looks more like a man than Banda. So I think, I think they have the criteria.
It's not about the looks; it's about what's inside the player. That's what CAF is saying.
Absolutely.
Now, let's talk about Nigerian Professional Football League. It's been absolutely buzzing. 2 more games to end the season, and as we speak, no miracle for MFM. I guess they tried football as we played on the field of play. But this time around, with 36 points, 2 more games to go, there's no hope. It's done and dusted. They've been relegated to the lower division. Now, it's surprising. It only happens in Nigeria, because from the 11th team, Nasarawa United, Abia Warriors, Niger Tornadoes, Kule must tell you this only happens in Nigeria.
Well, Brownson, you can't say it only happens in Nigeria. Well, yeah, it happens in Nigeria. It shows how competitive our league. It shows that every team is fighting to probably stay at the top, avoid drop. I think that is really very good. We have 2 games to the end of the league, and it's going to be battle or two. You saw the way Shooting Stars of Ibadan also played. They were down in match day 36, and they were down by 2 goals to nothing. They came back and they restored parity to get a share of the spoil. It shows that they are fighting. All the teams that you have mentioned are fighting, and it shows that towards the end, the last 2 games is going to be very, very explosive. It's going to seem like, when you watch the UEFA Champions League final.
This is at the point where some special results begin to come in.
Yeah, it's going to come in.
All right,
I don't want us to look at it from. It's going to be fair and square, but you expect. When some teams are battling relegation, they play against top teams, they give them a good run for their money.
A good run.
But sad one for MFM, after saying 6 years in the top league. Unfortunately, they couldn't hold it down this time. We talked about it. It's been knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And, when you ask Mr. Godwin and Ahena, he will tell you that the club is a church club and they don't have the money to secure the services of top players. But how do you do it when you are able to sell your top players
and you don't buy?
And you bring in, you don't buy. You bring in players from the academies and all of that to compete among the big boys. This is a very sad one. I feel very bad because I'm a follower, I'm a supporter of MFM. I go out there to support them.
Apart from that, MFM seems to be the only club in Lagos.
Yeah.
So right now, depending on what the other division looks like, we might not have a team from Lagos.
Well, I think they will bounce back. I think something will be done. I'm sure that Mr. Godwin and the proprietor of the club are not happy.
It's easy. They should splash the cash.
Yeah, it's
that's modern day football. They have to spend money.
They really have to.
All right, that's it for the Nigerian Professional Football League. Now, Plateau United, Remo Stars, and Kwara United all stand a chance of going to the continent. So it's going to be a battle. Now, it's done and dusted because Rivers are going to the CAF Champions League. But now there's still fight between Plateau United, who is on 64 points. Plateau United also looks very safe to me. Now, Remo Stars, Kwara, and Enugu are going to battle this out for who's going to make the continent. Even Enyimba is also in the mix. It's funny because even Sunshine Stars, all the way to the 8th position, can still go to the continent. Very, very exciting.
Very exciting. That's what I wanted to say. Very exciting.
Very exciting. 2 games remaining. Let's see how well this one goes. Now, if you're a basketball fans, this will interest you because the grassroots of basketball has taken another turn. Now, Milo Secondary School Basketball Championship came to its climax last week in Lagos, and we saw Bayelsa United dominating the proceedings, winning both the male and the female title. Now, before we give you some clips and highlights of that one, Olakunle was there live. Kule, give us updates about the female final. Let's start from the female final. I mean, we saw beautiful talent being displayed on the night.
Yeah, it was a very exciting time. From the female category, like we said, we saw the St. Jude's girls from Bayelsa dictating the pace from the beginning. They scored the amassed as many as 10 points before the other team, talking about Akpo College from Benue State, cool amassed a point. I think one of the points they got initially was a free throw, and it was the totally dominated proceedings. You could see immediately after the game, I went to speak with the coach. The coach also is the coach of the male team as well, and he told me, look, they got this one, and they're also going to get the boys to the category too. And I said, okay, let's wait and see how things will pan out. And the male category was a very exciting one. The Bayelsa team again, they came fighting. And when you see the boys, the passion, the desire, the inclination,
now,
I tell you,
FCT,
I don't know what Bayelsa
FCT also put up a very good fight in that final.
Yeah, they put up a very good fight, but it wasn't good enough. Yes, at a point in time, they were tied on 33 points. And just the way we always see it in the NBA, where you see LeBron James probably seeing the team down, and you need a big boy to come to fray and, of course, put up the magic. Yeah, we saw it with the Bayelsa team coming up, getting that all-important 3 point, and it was Valor that got that needed 3 point. And it was a very exciting one. Just about a few seconds to the end of the game, the young man just drilled the 3-pointer. The movement, the dexterity was a beauty to behold.
And that puts more basketball fans into chaos.
It was rapture. Everyone stood up. There was celebration because the manner the match ended was a very exciting one. But for the team from SFTC, it was a very disappointing one. They felt bad. They were crying. The boys were crying. And you remember
this thing happens in sport. Now, for all of you that were not able to see this game live, let's give you some clips. And of course, we also spoke to some of the players and the coaches. Enjoy it.
Good drive. Very well. Whoa. How did she miss that? Another one. And it says, I need Milo. I cannot come and die on this case of final. Whoa, why did you miss that?
For me, what we do in Bayelsa, we go to the school, go to their classroom, pick them up, take them, train them, and make sure you are close to them, like make friendship with them, know their houses, know their parents, make sure they come to training every day. If they don't come, go visit them at home and know the reason why they are not there. That is how you build up a team.
As far as they keep playing and keep their head on the game, remain in school, I think there's a hope for them in basketball. And I believe if they continue, they will go very far, even to represent Nigeria and play for various clubs around the world.
It's unbelievable. It can only be God. Me and my team, we have fasted and prayed. So that 9 minutes, I just remember God, that we cannot just fast and pray and go on that torture from our discipline coach, Coach Tony. So I took that shot with my belief and we won the game. And it's the first time, I just want to say, it's the first time both male and female have gone to finals and won it in the full Nigeria.
Ladies and gentlemen, the struggle goes on the fight for who is most valuable. These guys just gave us NBA standard at the 22nd Nestle Basketball Championship. Football, the NBA was a shot.
Congratulations, Alpha College. Congratulations. The award comes with 100,000 naira.
Look, I think we have a lot still to achieve in basketball. So, and being focused brings more into the game. Now, what we want is that we want to extend this collaboration for the future and making sure that whether the federation or the ministry takes those talents and bring them forward. Sports is the best thing they could be. It could bring them leadership, resilience, teamwork. It's very important to keep them off all the bad things that this generation might be, facing in the...
Yes, from one power sports to the other now, but this one is a Nigerian expert who is really flying the flag of the nation high in other country. Israel Adesanya again retained his title after an unanimous decision went down to his favor. I mean, this guy, there were lots of superstars that came out after that victory to celebrate him. I mean, even some people even have to place money on him. And of course, it was a good stake at the end of the day.
Yeah, this Thai Banda is loved by everyone, and he's always talking passionately about the fact that he is the king in his category. And you could see Cannonier didn't give him much opposition like we expected. One thing that caught my attention at the start of the bout was that the Undertaker theme song, probably to scare his opponent, and probably that also yielded dividend, because from the beginning all through the 5 rounds, he dominated, hitting him in the face and also in the leg. So I think there's been so much talk about this bout and all of that, but it didn't live up to billing from the side of Cannonier, because it didn't put off much. It didn't put him where we expected. He didn't fight the way we expected him to fight. So it was more like a dominant performance from Israel Adesanya.
That's what it is. That's what Nigerians bring when it comes to sport like this. Time will not allow us.
He's a New Zealandian. What do you call them? He's from New Zealand.
Whatever. All right, Kule, thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Yeah, it's always my pleasure to be here.
That's my final whistle on the program today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Now, a special thank you to all those that have been sending us emails. It feels very good to read from you and to also know that you're watching the program. Keep those messages coming. Now, don't also forget to follow us on all our social media platforms displaying on your screen right now. Now, you can also go to YouTube and then click the search icon and type SportsPizza. Of course, we definitely would pop out. Don't forget to subscribe. It is absolutely free. My name is Brownson Wana. Thank you so much for watching. Until we meet again next week, please stay safe.